on the occasion of International Teachers' Day. So, a very warm welcome to you all on behalf of CCE, myself Shireen Kulkarni, and I'm signing in from Espoo, Finland. And I'm the co-founder and director for CCE Finland, Council for Creative Education. And I wish you all congratulations and a lot of warm wishes on this International Teachers' Day. You must have seen our social media posts today where we are talking about teachers are the heart of the education system. So I welcome you all. And today's webinar, we have the central theme as teachers as leaders. We have 5 wonderful speakers from different parts of the globe, and we are traveling from Kosovo to North America, then to India, then to Indonesia, and from Indonesia we are going to Ecuador and then back to Finland. So this is going to be our journey. One wonderful thing I would like to tell you is that this webinar is also a part of our 12th International Symposium on Creative Education, where this year we are celebrating educational leadership as the main theme. And that symposium is going to happen in May 2025 from 4th May to 9th May. My colleague will put the link of the symposium here in the chat box. So you all are, I suggest you to all go through that web page and you will be able to get a lot of information there. This symposium is going to be like our 12th symposium, and we have been doing it for last 11 times. We have done it with various different themes. Like, for example, last year's theme was about nurturing creativity through happiness. So this was something very different because we believe that creativity has, of course, a lot of dimensions, and we try to explore those dimensions one by one. And this year, our theme is educational leadership and how you can be creative while you are leading not only your school but also just your classroom. So it is not that this symposium is only for leaders or principals, but it is also for the teachers who are doing like leading their classrooms. So we believe that the classrooms are the teachers are the pedagogical leaders. So far we have touched upon many themes, like, for example, Together We Create. That was our symposium for fifth year, and then we had something like digitalization, then AI. So we had these different types of themes. So now let's begin today's topic, and then I will keep on giving you more information about our symposium. I request everybody to be on mute, those who are not speaking right at the moment, to avoid any disturbances. So now I would like to call upon Miss Uki from American School of Kosovo and to begin with her presentation. Miss Uki, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Just a second. I'm sorry, I just need to find my slide.
It's okay. So Miss Uki is joining us from Kosovo today, and she's going to put her views about teacher as leader and what she wants to tell us. So she, by the time she is coming with us, I will give a small intro of her. So she is an educator and certified teacher trainer with over uh, 2 decades of experience in teaching and leadership. And she holds a master's degree in educational leadership, and she's a PhD candidate currently in educational sciences. And she is the alumni of Harvard's Certificate in School Management and Leadership program. She specializes in using data-driven strategies to empower teachers and help students realize their full potential. So her focus is on fostering collaboration among all school stakeholders, creating strategic opportunities for growth and continuous improvement. So she is today with us to give her presentation. Misuki, are you ready?
I'm just having problem with sharing, so I'm so sorry. It will take some minutes, so if you can continue with another presenter, I apologize.
Okay,
It's
no
a technical
problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Miss Julia, can you go next in that case?
I was on mute, yes. As long as we don't speak about my tabs, because I have lots of tabs open. Let's get into sharing. Yes, let's get going. I think this works. Are you able to see my screen?
It's coming. Yes, it's there. Yes, thanks.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's do the slideshow. Should be loading. Okay. And so before we get started, first of all, thank you so much for selecting me to be a part of this amazing platform with experts and masters. I am so honored. I stumbled upon, CCE late, about a year ago, and I on a YouTube channel, and I just want to let you know that the work that you guys are doing is phenomenal in terms of just that global awareness of what is happening in the school system and structure in Finland. So kudos to you. Thank you so much. And it speaks to what I believe in, which is global generational impact. And for the teachers that are joining us today, you are the cornerstone of every single community and every single society. And I don't want you to take that lightly. You are really holding the power of shaping the next generation of children. And so I just want to say kudos and thank you. So my name is Julia Bally, and I am the CEO and founder of JB Academic Consulting. And I come to you with almost 3 decades of experience. I was a teacher leader. I was a high school administrator, and I am hailing from New York City. And a lot of the times, we may have a certain persona in terms of what New York City is and what it's not. So we're going to get into that. And I'm talking to you about give them a voice, empower them for a lifetime. So this has to do with student engagement, but it's so much deeper than student engagement. It has to do with having your students become a stakeholder in the learning, in their community, and in their learning process. We talk about leaving the world better than we came in. We talk about preparing them for the future. Then we must empower them with the tools. And so as you're looking at this data on this screen, and so please let me know, give me the 2-minute time warning, Shireen. As we're looking at this, I embarked on a journey as a high school principal in the South Bronx, which is one of the poorest congressional districts areas in New York City. And when I started off in phase 1. So I just want to give you a little bit of background history so that you understand how this entire concept and technique that I'm going to share with you came to be. And the goals that we set were in phase 2. And I'm very interested if you could put in the chat which one of these goals you think actually happened first. So for those of us in the audience, just put in the chat which one of these goals you think happened first. This was a 5-year plan for the school. But what I want you to really hone in on is phase 3. Who was involved in the process? And so teachers were a crucial, critical part of creating these goals that we created. And then the other critical component, and when I say a critical part, I mean they had a voice in every aspect and every part of creating these goals. And then our students were a part of the process, and there were many ways that we heard their voice through town hall meetings, advisory, mentorship program. They were actually on our teacher teams. So when we did instructional walkthroughs, our students were actually a part of that process, and they shared with us what's working and what's not working from their lens. One of my favorite was having that one-to-one go-to person, because sometimes you are unable to get the attention of the individual you may want as a student, but every student identified in the building their go-to person. And so again, this was a 5-year plan that it took for us to get here. And I want to share a technique that we utilize. Now, setting norms is common. And for me as a teacher and a school leader, I always stayed away from using the word rules. I think that it was just sort of like an allergic reaction for young adults. I was a high school principal, 9 through 12. And so we use norms and expectations. And we had our students, they were a part of creating the classroom norms and the school-wide norms. I believe in partnering with our students. And so in partnering with our students, we don't want to close them out. And so this technique is called let's close and not close. And basically what that means is allowing students to partner with whatever's going on in their community, of course, with systems and structure and respect. And they always stepped up to the plate in regards to being a part of the process. And so it was their home. I always said, we're the visitors. The reality as adults coming into a school environment, we're the visitors. The school is in their community. And so I had the utmost respect for that. And so we partnered with our students. And in the first part of this process was communication. So in this particular model, there's an assumption that students have learned how to communicate. I don't assume that students know how to communicate because they have different vernaculars. It depends on how they speak on their video games and how they text each other and how they communicate at home and how they communicate with their friends. So we created, one of the first things we did was created school-wide norms for how we have conversation and for how we communicate. So this is not new. We all know about accountable talk. And so we had the accountable talk, but we had the students involved in which one of these sentence starters do they want up in their classroom. So when I said we had town hall meeting and advisories and places for them to be a part of the process, they were a part of creating the communication stems that were going to happen in their classroom. And let me tell you how you know it's working. When they don't know that someone's watching them and they're at their lockers and someone is saying, hey, I want to add on to that, or I disagree, and here's why. And when you hear it in the hallway, that's when you know you have a common language school-wide. And so that was one of the first things we did. And we did it with consistency, accountability, and rewards. Consistency is the key, especially with young adults. Accountability and reward. And that's how we did that. The second thing we did was listening. As adults, we're not necessarily the strongest in regards to listening to our young adults. However, one of the things that we worked very, very hard on, and if you see on the side, I have 10, 9, 8, 1, is processing time. This was another huge component of the work that we did, was allow students for processing time, which means that we had to be patient and we had to be silent, which is something that is many times very, very uncommon for educators and uncomfortable in the classroom as a teacher. But this is key because they always say the person who's doing the most amount of talking is also doing the most amount of learning. And if we want to be able to understand what the knowledge base that they have, we have to then become amazing master listeners. And so this is what this would sound like in your classroom. You're providing information and knowledge. They're encoding this information and knowledge. They're trying to get it to connect to an experience or prior knowledge that they've learned. And now you want to be able to provide them with that individual processing time. You want to have systems and structures where they're pair sharing and you're circulating the room and listening for the things that they're saying. You want to provide experiences where you can see the application, critical thinking, and connections that they're making in groups. But again, the key to this part of the technique is that the adults are listening. That's the key formula here. And then for the O in close, observation. And this is by far my favorite part. We really, as a school community, invited our students into this process. And we called it levels of understanding. And so basically what this looks like is, we have the traditional, many of us may know about that, I do, we do, you do. And what happens is the teacher is on the stage. So the student is observing the teacher in this particular first section of your lesson. But now we want to talk about the students on the stage. They are now observing each other. And here's where that accountable talk really comes in, and it's huge. And you are now the observer of the students, and the students are observing each other's knowledge base. Now we want to give the students their processing time, okay, in this observation. Now, this is my favorite part. This is where the level of understanding, we crack the code in terms of getting students to self-assess and self-evaluate and be self-advocates. So we had in our every single classroom, and this is done, everything I'm showing you, we did school-wide. But teachers, this can be done in your individual classes as well. The level of understanding, we started out with 4 levels of understanding because a lot of the times when we ask students questions, we get a yes or a no, or we have complete silence because a lot of the times they don't understand what they don't understand. And so what we did was we took the standards and then we broke it down for the students. So during their processing time now, they knew exactly where they were in the learning. So I'm going to give you a quick example. So for example, if you had we have an ELA standard, an English standard. And so this is support claims with logical reasoning and relevant evidence. Now we would have on the board so that they could see, if I'm a level 1 learner, I'm able to find my claim, but I can't do the logical reasoning or find the relevant evidence. If I'm a level 2 learner, I can find my claim and I found some evidence, but I don't know if it's relevant or not. And level 3 basically says, I have my claim, I have my reasoning, I know it's relevant, I'm ready to go. Now, when we put this language up for students based on the standards, they were able to advocate exactly where their learning was at. They could self-assess and they could self-evaluate, which then goes on to the student processing in groups now, because they placed themselves in their ability level and they moved according to their own mastery. It was just so beautiful to watch. The next thing we talked about is summarizing in this close technique. And a lot of this has to do with getting constant feedback from students. So discussion questions, conferencing every marking period, the teachers and myself, we conference with the students one-on-one to find out what's working and what's not working. And then we have surveys. But interestingly enough, these surveys were not generated by a district or by the school. These surveys were generated by the students. And so they were able, and they disaggregated their own data and shared with us as the staff what's working and what's not working. And then, so this leads to the expression, students being able to express themselves through the standards. You know exactly where they are. You have the observation. We're working on the modalities, all of which that's a totally different topic of discussion, working on the modalities so that they can show they're processing the content and able to produce the product. And so what does this do for students as stakeholders? They have a voice in their community. This addresses their social and emotional needs and learning. They have a way to let you know in the classroom, I get it or I don't get it, in a way that they're not threatened, and in a way that they also help to create this system. They become their own experts and their own evaluators, and they're a part of the conferencing and the survey process. And this all creates for a very stable social emotional learning environment. And so thinking about, what this would look like in your own classroom, and what this would sound like, and what this would feel like. So really taking into account the 5 senses as you're creating the experience for students in a learning environment, and saying, we want them to have a voice. We have to provide them with these tools and effective use of these tools so that they know exactly how to use their voice appropriately. And so one of the things I want to just put in here in terms of retention, so this is sort of like a one-off. This speaks directly to the academic portion of the student. When we want students to have a voice and we want this entire method, one of the things I've realized in my practice is the retention of information. And everyone was talking about the retention of information, especially post-COVID. And so allowing for processing time, the modalities, encoding, this all has to do with allowing for the input of information to go from short-term memory to long-term memory. Now, when we do this, that's when our level of understanding that I showed you earlier, that's when they know what they know and they know what they don't know, because we have allowed for them to create an environment where they're truly able to retain information. And that's the other key to having that level of understanding work within the classroom environment. And I'm just going to say, completely on a side, CCE, they did not ask me to do this because they don't even know I took this class. They have a teaching versus learning that goes so deep into this. It is so worth actually taking. It was amazing. So here is the students as stakeholders impact. What did this do for our community? What did our community look like? In our classrooms, we're talking about there's communication, listeners, learners, self-assessment, empathy, community. But, and you could look at what it does in the community. What I'm excited about is what it does for the self-learner, because again, we want to be able to give them a voice. And by giving them certain techniques, we're giving them a voice. We're empowering them for the long term so that they're able to self-advocate. And this is what ends up happening. We ended up with healthy communication in our school environment, self-advocacy. The students created their own mentorship program, of course, with adult supervision, but they were completely in charge. They started the concept of career houses. They developed career houses in all possible fields, culinary, performing arts, all of these things, because we cultivated a system and a school, a positive school community and positive classrooms where these things could actually happen. My personal favorite as a principal was them becoming the hiring committee, because what ended up happening as being a part of that mentorship program and learning this entire process, they turned around and said, well, the teachers are your teachers. And with the proper training, the students started hiring the teachers. And so I just wanted to be able to share the super important part of when we give students a voice, when we provide them with the communication and we're listening to them and we're observing, we're getting feedback, we're allowing them to express themselves. It's not just about the now, it's the adults that we're actually developing. And so I thank you so much for this time. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you so much, CCE.
Thank you so much, Julia. I really enjoyed your presentation. It was so beautiful and so meaningful as well. And thanks for mentioning our course.
Oh yes, I've been secretly stalking CCE. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we will go to Europe. I think Miss Uki is ready with her presentation, and Yes. So, Miss Uki.
Thank you
now-
very much.
Yes.
I apologize for the at the beginning that I couldn't open it on time. So today I'm going to focus mainly on the role of a teacher as leaders. And I'm very excited to speak to you about this topic, which is not only important, but it's necessary for the future of education. So as educators, we naturally lead in our classrooms, but the influence goes far beyond that. And today I'll talk about how we as teachers can empower our voices to lead change, not only within our schools, but throughout the entire education system. I've spent more than 2 decades in this field, and through my journey, I've seen a potential in every teacher that I've worked on to have to drive this transformation. And as we see, leadership is not only about position, but it's about making impact, making influence, and inspiring the others to lead the ways that we are modeling to them. So teachers are natural leaders. Every day we teach, and when we teach, we are leading. From classroom management to guiding students' growth, we are shaping the future. But leadership doesn't end when the bell rings. Teachers influence school culture, policies, and even systematic changes. As we know, as we see this quote here, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I can say that leadership is simply about this, about influencing, and teachers, they play a significant role in this matter. But when we teach, it is very important to know that we have to also empower each other as a group where we are working on.
Miss Uki, sorry to interrupt you, but we can't see your video. Like, can you just start your video?
Oh, you can't see?
No.
I'm sorry. Again.
No, we were able to see your presentation. I'm talking about your video.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Again. Just a second. I apologize. Just a second.
I think, Julie, you have to switch on your video in the Zoom. Otherwise, the presentation we were able to see.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see the presentation. Go, no worries. Don't worry about the video. It's okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
So, yeah. So let me just go back. Yes, empowering the teacher's voice and engage. Yeah. So as a team, we know that working in a school, it's a complex institution, but teachers are the voices of the main thing that happens in the school. And engaging in continuous professional development is one of the key things that teachers should be guided throughout the whole career within the school. Speaking up in school and district decision making, being part of decision making is another thing that is very important. And also being a mentor for the others and collaborate with colleagues, it's another very important and a key thing in a school. Teachers as change agents. We should know that to advocate for students and for fellow teachers, the new teachers in the school, is another responsibility that we have as teachers, where we share our experiences. We lead them to the more successful paths in the classroom and beyond that. We bring innovation within the classrooms, and overall, this will influence the whole community, and it will impact the policies that we set. But when we say that we are those who make changes, the first thing that we should know is that we should know as teachers our students. Knowing the academic and emotional levels of our students is essential to leadership. And knowing their levels, academic levels, emotional levels, we will be able, and that will allow us to differentiate our instruction, to create personalized learning paths for every student. It also helps us monitor progress and celebrate growth while providing targeted support where it's needed most. And mostly what is most important is when students feel understood, when students feel that they are getting the lessons and the lessons actually that meet their needs. It's where we build trust, and they are more motivated, and we as teachers build stronger relationships that absolutely lead to greater success. Data and leadership and empowerment, they go together. So knowing our students will help us create more personalized learning experiences for our students. It will create policies that will meet our students' needs. It will also, data will give us the whole picture of where the improvements is needed, not only for students, but also for teachers, and not only for teachers, but also for school strategies to be built. And the teachers, they have the voice in this because they are the ones who are in the front line to collect the data, to evaluate the students' needs, and to, out of the findings, they are the ones to bring decisions on the table and to create these strategic plans. So data empowers leadership decisions. It measures success, and it also provides opportunities for growth. When we have correct data from different aspects in the school, it provides evidence for collaboration with students, with parents, with all stakeholders. So this is one of the other key things that is important to be taken into consideration when we talk about teachers' voice. Creating teacher leadership. We should know that recognizing the impact that teachers have in the school. The school has the opportunity to empower these gaps that maybe can be found in teachers' experiences, in teachers' preparations, and then to provide professional developments so that everyone is in the same line. Also, every teacher gives a lot of contribution in the school, and there should be moments and times when this should be celebrated. And yeah, to have a continuous inspiring change in the school. Personally, I would like to make a call for all the teachers around the world. I want to leave this presentation with this. Every single one of us, every single one of the teacher has the potential to lead. Whether we are just starting our careers in teaching or have been in education for decades, our voices matter, and use it to make a difference. Leadership doesn't mean having all the answers and in all stages of our career, but it's about stepping up, asking questions, and finding solutions. So teachers, be the leaders that your students need. So knowing your students' needs, prepare yourself so that you can meet all these expectations that we have. And remember that in the world where you can be everything, why not to choose to be a leader? Every day we try to celebrate the impact that we have as teachers in every moment in our class. But let's not forget the dedication, the growth, and inspiration are the key things that each teacher works every day in the class to try to reach these potentials. So teachers dedicate their time and energy to nurture and educate the next generation. So their dedication should be appreciated. They play a crucial role in personal and academic growth throughout students' lives. And teachers inspire students to dream big and to achieve their fullest potential in life in different ways. Thank you very much for this presentation, and I hope that teachers will use this day to celebrate and to acknowledge their impact that they have not only in the class but also in their school community and worldwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Uki, and I really enjoyed your presentation, and you have given a very good message that if you want to choose anything, then why not to be a leader?
Yes.
So that's a very good message.
Thank you
And
so
now we will move forward from Kosovo to India, and I would like to welcome Mr. Ramki. So Mr. Ramakrishnan is joining us today from India, Chennai, and he has over 50 years of experience in various industries and currently an advisor to GMR Group, plus engaged in leadership development in a few reputed schools. And he has trained over 200 principals, and his passion is about leadership. So I think he's the most suitable speaker that we have from India today. So welcome, Mr. Ramki, and the floor is yours. And one more important thing, I just met him last month because he was in Finland and he joined us for our education tour. So it's my pleasure to meet you again online.
Thank you, Shireen. Happy morning, happy afternoon, happy evening to everyone. Globally, we are connected. Thanks, Shireen and the CCE team for putting this program together and inviting me to be the panel. First of all, I stand here with a lot of respect to the people who are connected virtually today for this session on teacher as a leader. I have not come here to deliver a speech from the platform of holier than the thou, and I know it at all. And because I really believe that each one of you is a living encyclopedia in your own rights. I really tell people that the best lessons of life are learned from books. And more than that, it is learned from watching your people. Probably an office boy in your premises who has not taken off an entire year and will learn the sincerity of work commitment from his or her, which Harvard also cannot teach. Probably we learn punctuality and discipline from somebody who have a clerical staff or a junior manager or an executive or a security. Maybe there is a very senior leader who is always on time or before time to the office about the time management. So the greatest learning comes from watching our surroundings, our colleagues, peers, and keeping our ears and eyes open. And in that sense, if I know that I'm not a speaker today, and if I have to invest some time with each one of you, I'm sure without any exception, each one of you is going to teach me something. So I put together my experience on what is the teacher as a leader. I'm trying to do that. So this is actually, one moment, it's not moving. Just I'm sharing my thoughts on some leadership perspective from my own experience and learning towards developing a leader in you. The question is, who is a leader? And what is leadership? Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in our charge. There is a difference between a leader and a leadership. Leader is an individual person, whereas leadership is an influence. It is a process and it is a journey. And it is an inside out, it's not an outside in process. And leadership is not about the leader, it's not about it is about the growth. I have not used the word change here, I've used the word transformation, because change is impermanence, whereas transformation is permanent. Transformation is something your own past looks like somebody's past. And change only fixes the current, where transformation creates a new thing. That is what is the leader's job as well. I think we need to be a transformation human being, not a change agent, but a transformative agent. The world is becoming more VUCA now, which is coming as very volatile, very uncertain, complex, ambiguity all around, and we don't have a control on what's happening outside. But as a leader, we need to be able to see the scenario planning, and yesterday's traits are not going to be useful for the future going forward, especially with the new generation coming up, the boomers. The way their information levels are much, much higher than what all of us have gone through. So education should not be an information. It is not about living a life, it's about leading a life. I think that is the transformation we need to look at. I think we are all trying to live a life or live a life to its students. I think it is to how to lead a life. I think that's the transformation we have to bring in education. So what is the volatility turns? It causes fear, risk aversion, back to basics, uncertainty, paralysis, tendency, excess on data analysis and paralysis. Complexity looks for scapegoats and blame games. Ambiguity induces the doubt, hesitancy, decision-making. So we don't have the control on the outside world, what's happening, because it's an exponential growth. What we have, the antidote for this VUCA is a leadership traits, or actually it is a foresight, action, and insight. And how do we layer that? It requires a vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. So we need to constantly evolve as a leader and look at the student influence. The teacher is a great influence of student, but the student get in touch with so many people in the learning of education. A discovery of life options for certain larger good. Then there's a parents, family culture influences them. There are counselors, there are schools, various parts of the schools. If they move from one school to other school, the culturally we are different. And also adds to the geographical differences, then get into a higher educations. So there is a greater responsibility for us. The academics cannot be just vomiting, making sure that they mug up something and vomit on the paper. It is the knowledge that needs to be, yes, knowledge is available, but the wiser thing is how the knowledge can be converted into a wisdom and apply it and see it in the real life. I think it is not necessary to only accumulate knowledge. Application of the knowledge is also, that is where the teachers play a vital role. The 5 steps for creating a teacher leaders, in my experience, is school teachers must cultivate a culture of leaders. They should understand they are the leaders. The leadership is about belief. If they don't believe that they are a leader, they cannot be a leader. It starts from your mind and your belief, self-belief. Must identify the needs of the school students and teacher. Am I looking at an end-to-end, a holistic and abundance education to the children, apart from the lessons of various types of lessons? What are we doing in terms of attitudes, values, ethos of the country or ethos of the community and civics? Are we developing them as a community leader going forward? As school leaders recruit teachers to be leaders, it's important that teachers be provided the individual growth opportunities. It is not a question of growing up, it is also the going up. There is a difference between going up and growing up. We all grow up. We don't have an option. When the sun rises and sun sets, we all grow up. Every living being on this earth grow up by a day. That is a natural phenomenon which we can't control. But going up is optional. That is your maturity level. And I think few people don't even grow. Most of the people don't grow even after 60, 70. They continue to be what they are. They only grow up, they don't go up. School leaders must create growth opportunities that are ongoing for teachers, leaders, as well as the challenging. Must look at new opportunities for growth as teacher leaders. Now let us look at leadership. It applies to any leadership, especially with the teacher. It starts with leading self. If you cannot lead yourself first, how do you think you can lead others? So it starts with leading self, and then comes on to the leading teams and others, and leading institution. Then we are looking at leading transformation. I think I'm going to touch on two aspects of leading self and team others because of want of time, or the leading institution, leading transformation. Let me touch on the skills and character. We are all having, I think our focus is all the time on doing, increasing our doing capacity and capability, not the being part of it. The being is neglected at all levels, even at the organizational leaders, in the corporate leaders, in school leaderships, and at the students level. We tell them about all the domain about social studies or general mathematics or this much, that, we teach all those things. The doing capability goes up, the intelligence goes up, but the being part gets neglected. We are all called as human beings, not human doings. That means the being has to be, a being has a lot of impact on the doing. So at some point of time, it is refocus on doing plus being. Prepare the you for the transformational leadership, that is your inner excellence, that is doing plus being. If you all of us have a lot of gadgets using today, the white goods, and whether it is a digital phone, whether it's a washing machine, whether it's a microwave oven, all these equipments come with a manual. Unfortunately, the beautiful equipment, human being, does not come with a manual. When you are born, the parents did not give you a manual. This is your manual. But God has told very clearly, please prepare your own manual. I think he has empowered all human beings to prepare our own manual. That is the being part. If the being is not right, the doing gets impacted. Many of the best leaders, so-called leaders, are the people who have the best IQ, have miserably failed in their career because they did not look at the being part of it. And there are people, very mediocre doers, have been grown up into excellent leaders. So what is the difference between the doing and being? Doing is about accomplishing something. Being is about, I'm aware of myself, I'm self-aware. Reacting, being is about responsive and insightful. It is behavior-driven. This is values-driven. Conscious and unconscious, driven by success, not afraid to fail. Changing and transforming. Doing is about answering. Being is about question. The leadership trait is asking the right questions so that people will be able to find answers. Doing is about answers to how. Being is about answers to why. Especially this generation, if you are prescriptively telling them what to do, they will not obey. Please start with the why and end up with what. I think that is the lesson plan, or that is the teaching strategy which needs to change. Tell the why you have to do it, because it is not the disrespect the student tells you. It is the curiosity of this generation. So our way of approaching the teaching should be start with the why and end with what. Leading self means that is the one which is very, very, to be a great leader. Understanding self is the starting point. How much I know about myself, my strengths, my developmental, I don't call it as a weakness, the developmental needs. Teacher employee need to ensure he or she have the right skills to work with the colleagues and the peers. Can I not only work teams, can I collaborate and co-create and cooperate? Preferred and the right communication. Communication is hard. The earlier generation, probably emotion was based on the relationship. Trust was based on emotions. Today, it is emotion plus information. That is communication. If there is no communication, there is no relationship today. How does she or he could communicate the best way to students and peers and management? The question is, you want to communicate what is popular or what is right? Best way to deal with the challenges is right mindset, negotiating skills for a win-win deal, moving away from the fixed mindset to a growth mindset, influencing skills, mainly non-reporting relationships. It's not always you can influence people from the position of power. But are you able to influence people from a non-reporting level where you don't have an authority, but you are able to get things done? It does happen only with relationships. Your net worth becomes your network. are able to build relationships? How do they pursue their colleagues to focus on institutional goals and alignment? Alignment and clarity are two important things in the organization. Otherwise, every horse will pull in a different direction, then you know what happens to the institution. Outcome of a self-leadership is a self-awareness, self-confidence, self-efficacy, desire to deservingness. I'll just come to the next slide on this. Introspection, enemy is within you. We look for the enemies outside. Probably we don't recognize the enemy is with our mind is our enemy. I think what is the mind is the human. You deserve the best, be one above the crowd. You want to be one among the crowd or one above the crowd, choice is yours. It's a life leadership. It is not towards just a teacher. You need to be a life leadership. So self-leadership is about knowing who you are, knowing what you do, knowing what you need to learn, using what you know and what you are learning. I think that is the four silos which are interconnected, which moves you from the desire to deserving. We all have the desire to become leaders, but do we deserve to become a leader is a question. That is where the action point starts. Self-leadership is about an inside challenge towards excellence. It's not an outside in, it's inside out. It is not about being your best, not being the best. No human can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. You can't lead others unless you lead yourself first. I think we probably always trying to lead others without leading self. And the most important part is to lead yourself first. So this is the vertical expertise. That is what, we talk about the domain IQ is about a vertical expertise, a depth of expertise. We keep on increasing our skills on what we are doing. But we never look at a horizontal exposure. A leader should have a horizontal exposure and perspective. That is the being part, end-to-end part. This helps you in the decision-making, people relationship, team building, looking at vision, mission, values. That is the perspective you need to get. A leader is already on top of the ladder. You decide to look at being the top of the ladder. You want to look at the whole thing, or you want to look down on the whole thing. The choice is yours. Most of the leaders try to look down what's happening on today. They don't look at the perspective. That is the breadth of competency, values, beliefs, and social skills. So leading self is self-reflection.
Excuse me, sir, actually, I think we are quite going.
Yeah, I'm just finishing. Yeah. So leading, I'm just leaving that and I'm just moving. I can share this PowerPoint presentation to all. That's not an issue at all. So I will just close this with a few things. Growth is your willingness to give up the known certainties of life and step into the unknown certainties of limitless possibilities. What you are and what you have been is inconsequential to what you can be. So way forward some thoughts. Improve as a person, not just as a role. Look at that. That comes from your self-awareness. From success to significance. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yes. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this wonderful presentation. We were just little bit like behind the schedule.
I understand. So I understand.
Yeah, but thanks a lot. And what I learned from your presentation is that you yourself is the first person you need to lead, and then before you lead others. And then you explained very nicely how can we do that. So thanks a lot. And now we will move on to our next speaker. But before that, it's a small announcement from our side, and it's our pleasure. My colleague Simran Balani, who has logged in from Bangalore. So Simran, why don't you make this good news and the announcements?
Thank you so much, Shireen, and a very warm welcome. So we are kind of going around the country, but now we are moving from the southern part of Chennai to Bangalore. So I'm close, a neighbor for Mr. Ramki. A very, very pleasure evening for me personally to hear Ms. Julia, Ms. Uki, and Mr. Ramki. And what kind of resonates the next announcement is finding the voice. We are talking about finding the voice of teacher, and what I am going to make the announcement is finding the voice of the school. We at CCE Finland discovered that across the globe, schools are doing a very good job thanks to their marvelous teachers who are passionate in bringing the student agency at the focus. So keeping this in mind, what we have is a very innovative program called as CCE Finland NEP accreditation. When I say NEP, it is any country's national education policy. So with our growing network of our accreditation partner, I thought this was a very good moment on the World Teachers' Day to honor the teachers who are embarking this journey and making our accreditation family bigger and bigger by the day. So I will just take 5 minutes of your time, introduce two of our accreditation partners at this moment. One is from Malaysia, another one is from India. We will also take a minute to look at one of their team members' videos and give them a good round of applause, and also inspire the other schools who are already doing such tremendous amount of work. I will also take a minute to explain how simple this accreditation is and how joyful this journey can be for the schools, institutions, and organizations taking up this project. So allow me to please share my screen. So at the first, as I said, I am very pleased to welcome the team of Malaysia Parent First, who are passionate about bringing in parent solutions to the world, and they are joining this accreditation journey with us. They will be with us for 6 months, completing this accreditation process. And the beauty of this program is that we are with them for 2 years to make sure that we work hand in hand with them to fill up the gaps, if any, in terms of Finnish education and their own education policy. So a big round of applause to Parents First team. We warmly welcome you and look forward to working with you. Next on this is a school called as SNE International. They are the first one in the New Delhi area to initiate the CCE Finland NEP model accreditation. We give a huge round of applause. They are yet to form the entire accreditation committee, but the team that I am corresponding with is pretty excited. A big congratulations to the visionary, Mr. Dhingra, and their principal, Ms. Komal, and we look forward to working with you. So at this juncture, I would like to play these 2 videos. I hope my screen is visible. Yes.
Greetings, I'm Jason representing International Business Development at Parent First, and I'm thrilled to share some great news with you all today. We are officially embarking on our accreditation journey with Council for Creative Education Finland, a decision that is perfectly aligned with our global vision for educational excellence. The CCE Finland accreditation combines the innovative elements of Finland's education system with the forward-thinking principle of India's national education policy. This process will not only elevate the quality of education we provide, but also allow us to expand our footprint on the global stage. By integrating this international standard, we ensure that our students benefit from a well-rounded, progressive education that prepares them for future success. The entire team is really looking forward to this enriching experience, and we can't wait to see what the future holds. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Jason, for sharing this video with us. And now we will listen to Ms. Komal, who is the principal of SNE International, sending us a message about their entire team, very energetically waiting to start on the CCE Finland accreditation process.
Greetings from SNE International School. I am Ms. Komal, the principal of this school, and I'm very excited to share with all of you that SNE International School will be accredited with Council of Creative Education Finland, that is CCE Finland, very soon. It is a great opportunity for our school to inculcate the best practices of the Finnish education system while retaining the core values of the Indian education system. This collaboration affirms our strong belief in creating global citizens of the future and will help us in enhancing the culture of innovation and learning in the school. We are very grateful to the organization and looking forward to this association. Thank you.
And I wanted to congratulate both of these teams, and we are looking forward to working with you. We are eagerly awaiting to learn more about the best practices that already you have. And at this stage, I just wanted to show our accreditation page, which has a list of all the schools that are institutions that are working with us around the globe, who are looking forward to get this accreditation. But it also has a lot of information of how you can get your institute accredited. And as I said, it is actually as 3 simple steps. In the first step, you submit your documents to us. Second, we do the on-site or online review. And third is where we give you the report with the gap analysis and the accreditation provisional certificate. And we work with you to make sure that we are addressing the gaps via tailor-made teacher training programs or leadership programs at your end. So I look forward to connecting with your institution to take this forward. Thank you very much for listening to me, and all the best to the remaining speakers, and great going, Shireen and the team. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Simran. And now I guess we can move to Indonesia. Professor Abdul Karim, are you ready? Okay. I can't see him here. Maybe we need to go to Ecuador then. Roxana, can we have you here now?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So Roxana is joining us from Ecuador, and she's a Fulbright teacher and collaborated with many international colleagues. So Roxana, please go ahead and give your presentation.
Thank you. Can you confirm you can see my presentation, please?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Well, good morning, dear teachers. Thank you, CCE Finland, for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be here sharing with you. Today, we are celebrating this Teaching and Leadership Day. As we are talking about leadership, I would like to share with you a case of success coming from South America, specifically from Ecuador, okay? In Ecuador, we have a high school, which is a private school, middle-class high school, called Duale Schule. And in this school, we're transforming lives from the classroom. And I'm going to tell you how we are doing that. First of all, I would like to introduce myself a little bit. And why I'm doing this, because through all different programs that as teachers can access, I had the chance to participate in a Fulbright Teacher Exchange program in which I could meet wonderful teachers from all around the world. And this opportunity gave me a different perspective about sharing. From this experience, I realized and I valued how important it is for us to share all our experiences and share the ways that we have, all the things that we have done in the world to provoke a change. Okay, well, going back to the case of success in Ecuador, I would like to tell you a little bit about the background of what is happening, okay? In Ecuador, 18.5% of young people between the age of 18 and, the ages of 15 and 24 years old are considered ninis. What is ninis? Ninis mean that they are people who neither study neither work. So this was becoming a very big social problem that cost a lot of money to our government to support. So schools need to, all the schools were thinking about what can we do to solve this challenge and to give a solution to this social problematic that was very hard for our country. So in our school, we had the chance to bring to Ecuador the dual education system. What does dual education consist of, and why it is so successful in Ecuador? First of all, I would like to explain what means dual system. Dual system means that one student from high school goes through a vocational training program that matches with the theoretical instruction that he or she receives from school. In our case, we make a partnership, an agreement with the German Chamber of Industry in Ecuador. So all the companies that became our training companies that help us with our students are companies related to the German side of industrialization of our country. What is happening with this dual system and what is provoking in our students? This learning makes our students to become more practical in different skills that are needed for by the time they finish school. What is happening? They develop skills like social communication, teamwork, and all those things that are necessary required by the time they become part of a company or when they finish high school and they need to find a job. Just some important information and data I would like to share is that when our students get their high school diploma, most of them, I mean, 80% of our graduated students are hired by the training companies. As I mentioned before, training companies are all allied to the German Chamber of Commerce in Ecuador, okay? But you may be thinking how these people can do it. Why is that high, the percentage of success for these students? And I'm going to explain what are the pillars that the school provokes in them so they can be accepted immediately in a company. First of all, we train them to be part of real life experiences. First, we work in the curriculum. What we do with the curriculum, we foster autonomy and engage them in real life projects. For us, autonomy is really important because students can empower us to take ownership in their own learning journey. And also, this situation or this curriculum helps them to develop critical thinking and also problem-solving skills. As we have heard before from our speakers, it's important that we as change leaders, we need to provide solutions to problems. And also we need to think outside of the box. That's what we do with our students. We make them foster autonomy because it's important independence by the time they leave the school or they go to their training companies. The second pillar is extracurricular activities. As I mentioned before, our school doesn't have a big amount of a budget to make a lot of things because it's a middle class school. In that framework, what we do is that we make smart agreements. In this case, in our city, we make an agreement with the National Theater, and with them, with no cost, they teach our students to take classes of theater, of music, of a lot of things that helps them to foster self-expression and also emotional regulation. All of these are part of the preparation they need to be ready when they go outside to their training process in a company. So for us, it's important that they take these classes, art classes, because it helps them to develop collaboration and communication and professional settings, okay? The third pillar of our dual system is the structured relationship that we establish among families, schools, and training companies. As this is a relation in three parts, a dual student needs to be well prepared to face this adult work. And the school needs to foster a structured relationship because families are one important pillar for them, because families are the ones that take care of their well-being, and that the students get responsibility by the time they go to a company, right? So the families are very important for us, and they work in hands with the school. And of course, the structured relationship with companies, because they are the ones that provide understanding of workplace dynamics and all the things that the students face when they are young, very young. I mean, they are 16, 17 years old, and they go to a company to face a world of adults. You may be wondering, this dual system provides of our teachers of leadership? Of course, this program provides of leadership toward teachers by the time they need to lead the students in understanding academic concepts that need to be translated into real work applications. And the second place in which they become leaders is by the time they become mentors. because our teachers not only teach from books, they teach from real life experiences, and they need to prepare our kids to be ready to navigate their roles and issues with companies. We have some students that they say, no, I don't want to go to the training program today, but from young ages, they learn how to be responsible. But this responsibility comes from three different pillars, as I mentioned before: school, teachers, and families. Teachers also shape learning experiences as a dual teacher because they coordinate with companies and ensure student success in both academics and professional environments. So, as we have heard from all the speakers before, it's important that we prepare. We need to be ready to lead this new world of learning in which we are going to face, and our students are involved, because as we all know, it's not the same thing to teach a student now as we used to teach them 10 or 20 years ago. To finish with my exposition, I would like to say that effective leadership is not just about personal success, but it is also about empowering others to grow and reach their full potential. Yesterday, I heard a quote that says, "How can you as a leader determine if you are being successful or not in creating this leadership environment?" And this person said, by the number of more leaders that were developed by the time they were in touch with you. Dear teachers, let's remember that we are agents of change. We have students that are going to be the future of our nations. And sometimes, as I mentioned from Ecuador, we are countries that face a lot of problems, but we are the ones who have the solution in our hands. And we need to go outside of the box, make smart agreements. It's not only about having money or not having money. As leaders, we are able and capable to think more in what the students need and find the right person and make a great arrangement. So it doesn't have to do with money, but it has to do with benefits for our students. That's how we did it in Ecuador. And I can share with you that the dual education system that we are applying in Ecuador is expanding into an innovative approach that nowadays is being taken for more schools than our school to put it into practice, because it has been proven to be a model capable of promoting employment and stronger economic growth. This is what I came to share today, and thank you so much. I would like to tell you Happy Teachers Day. Thank you for being here. This is my email in case you would like to be in contact with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roxana. It was very interesting presentation, and I can see that how you made the system as a tool to enhance the leadership. So that's very wonderful. So thank you so much. And thanks for joining us from early morning, if we consider it is Saturday morning today. So now we will move on to our last speaker of the day, and Mr. Abdul Karim. Are you ready? Can I see you here?
Yes, Shirin. Ms. Shirin, thank you very much.
Yes. So welcome, Dr. Abdul Karim, and we are associating with Dr. Abdul Karim for a long time, and he has been our symposium participant actually in 2016. And since then we are connected. So we are also celebrating 8 years of collaboration together with him and together with his university in Indonesia. So, Dr. Abdul Karim, now the floor is yours, and please let me know, like, if you want me to change the slides for you.
Okay. Thank you very much for Ms. Shirin and also Ms. Belani and all speakers this morning or this afternoon and also this evening Indonesia time. I would like to thank you very much to you all and team, also participant who joined this best event, I think. And I will welcome to all speakers to come to Indonesia as a beautiful country, according to me. Please come and let's we have the international conference in Indonesia, and I will also welcome to all speakers to come to Indonesia, and we will join with the CCE to help this international conference. Okay. Please help to share my PowerPoint, Ms. Sirin.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay, while writing the PPT, I want to talk about the principal act as a leader and manager in school. Of course, the first, the background of normative about the quality of education, that the learning process in school significantly affect education quality, requiring effective teachers and principal to meet the national standards. Also, the background about the principal as an educational leader, the role of the principal, also the role of effective leadership and impact on education quality. That the principal influence educational quality by directly and indirectly affecting teaching staff and overall outcomes. But there is a gap in our study about the principal act as a leader and manager in school. Yes, the lack is the gap is there is a lack of discussion on managerial leadership in education. Combination between leader and manager in education. So the challenge is, despite extensive research, leadership remain poorly defined with very varying styles, necessitating effective strategies for improve in performance. So my study has a novelty that to differentiate the roles of principals as leaders and managers in public and boarding school for effective management. Also, this mean that leadership roles and also the function of manager can combine together to become action for principal in both boarding school and also public school. My idea for this, I call by managerial leadership. It's been the combination between the leadership roles and manager function.
The slides are shared now, so you can let me know when I need to go to the next slide. Yeah.
Yes, please. Next to the slide, the idea or mean and reality of leader and manager, Ms. Sirin. So, what the conceptual modification? The concept of principle is refined through the relationship between managerial characteristic and natural leadership behavior. And so the managerial leadership key term in according to my study is inspiration-based situational, collective non-structural, senior structured, secret hand managerial. Okay, we will next to the managerial leadership model as a creativity in education slide, Ms. Sirin. There are 4 steps to be, to be managerial leadership. The first is inspiration-based situational. How about the inspiration-based situational leadership in both boarding and public school? Leadership in a boarding school is based on ancestral discourse, emphasizing mutual doctrine and action, while public schools lack this spiritual indicator, focusing instead on national leadership. And how about a source of inspiration for both leadership and in boarding and public. Both type of schools draw inspiration from various sources, including God and ancestral figures, but differ in how they utilize this inspiration for policy making. How about indicator of self-evaluation practices? In a boarding school, leaders engage in self-evaluation and discussion to inform their policies, while a public school principal focus on implementing management functions. And how about management strategy? In boarding school, leadership serve as a model for inspiration, while public school leaders management is centered on operational efficiency and planned activities. The second step of managerial leadership is collective non-structural leadership. The concept of collective non-structural leadership include of informal, natural relationship, culture, trust, and shared knowledge in both boarding and public school. The indicator of decision making in collective non-structural leadership is that boarding school leaders facilitate a discussion to appoint capable leaders, distinguishing their mode leadership structure from the formal structure in a public school. And about the trust and respect indicator, that the trust and respect in boarding school are linked to policies focused on benefit and awareness, whereas public school principle emphasize motivation and understanding. The third rule, the third step of managerial leadership is senior structured leadership. In my opinion, that characteristic of senior structure leadership is both the loyalty, pride, motivation, vision sharing, and staff direction, highlighting the referred status of senior leaders in boarding school. How about the indicator rule of elders in boarding school? Elder are respected figures, thus close to ancestral knowledge, acting as a knowledge practitioner and role model, fostering a friendly learning environment. But in public school, senior teachers are respected, but may not hold leadership roles, contrasting with the lineage-based respect found in boarding school. And then about the indicator of success. Success in boarding school is linked to PT, obedience to ancestors, and unity, while in public school, principals also demonstrate PT and cooperation, but may lack ancestral ties. The last of step or the last of roles of managerial leadership is a secret hand managerial. The characteristic of secret hand managerial are actuating, informational, decisional function, reflecting the spiritual practices of leaders in both boarding and public school. But the indicator of function in boarding school leadership engage in collaborative tasks and guidance with deliberation to overcome challenge, while also fulfilling all managerial functions like planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling. About indicator of information. In boarding school, leaders gather information from trusted sources and disseminate it through traditional means, while public school principals utilize advanced technology for information management, giving them superior informational role. About decision-making process indicator, boarding school leaders prefer direct involvement in fundraising and community engagement, relying on kinship and spiritual belief to navigate challenge, whereas public school leaders adopt a more formal decision-making approach. The last that I want to say, about the sacred object and leadership. In boarding school, leaders regard several objects, like ancestral, as sacred, whereas in public school, principals do not attribute sacredness to any object. And about the indicator views on spirituality, the leadership approach in boarding school emphasize spiritual activities, contrasting with the more secular focus on public school leaders who engage in fewer contemplative practice. That's what I can deliver to you all. The combination between leadership roles and also manager function. Thank you to Shirin and Tim, and thank you to all.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And I will just stop sharing now. Great. Thank you for your presentation. It's always very much research backed, and I always enjoy your conversations. So thank you so much for that. And I can see that I have still all my speakers here. So thank you so much for being here until the end of the webinar. So we wanted to finish it in 1 hour, but the topics were so interesting and the talks were so interesting that we kind of extended our timing. And we still have 50 participants online with us. So thanks to all of them who made it till the end. And a round of applause for all the speakers and a round of applause to all the audience also. So this is just a gentle reminder about our 12th symposium, and there is a good news that on the occasion of International Teachers' Day, we have extended our Super Saver deadline to 28th of October. So please visit our page and make sure that you register yourself for it. So I think if there are any questions from the audience, we can take a couple of those. Okay, not at the moment, but I'm sure people will contact us if they want to. Every one of you has given your contact details. So I would like to thank you all again for joining us, and please be with us for our upcoming webinars. And we are going to continue this Teacher as a Leader series, webinar series, because when we when we send the call for speakers, we got like 38 interests for being a speaker. So, but of course we cannot have everyone on the same day, same time. So we decided that we will divide them in different webinars, and then we will have most of them during our next webinars. So thank you so much for this overwhelming response. And we got 244 registrations for this webinar. So that is also a quite huge number. So thanks to all of them who registered and could make today. And we are, because this is a live stream through our YouTube, so people are watching us across the globe from our YouTube. So I again wish you all a very happy International Teachers' Day. And now I will sign off for today, and have a nice evening, day, night, whatever there.